You get home after a long day. You sit down in your chair, and you look down at your ankles, and they're gone. Not literally gone, but the shape is gone. Where there used to be a nice, clean line between your calf and your foot, now there's just this puffy, tight, shiny skin that looks like someone inflated your leg with a bicycle pump. You press your thumb into the side of your ankle, and when you pull it away, the dent stays there for 5, 10, maybe 15 seconds. And that little dent scares you more than you want to admit, because you've heard that swelling in the legs can mean something serious. Heart problems, kidney problems, blood clots. And maybe you've noticed that it's worse in the summer, or worse after you've been standing at the kitchen counter making dinner, or worse on the days you forgot to drink water because you read somewhere that too much water makes it worse. So you sit there in your chair at 8 o'clock at night, staring at your swollen feet and wondering if this is the beginning of something terrible. I want you to take a breath, because I'm going to walk you through exactly what's happening inside your legs right now. And for most people over 70, it is not the catastrophe you're imagining. My name is Margaret. I'm a health researcher, and I've spent the better part of 2 decades studying circulatory health, venous function, and the things our grandparents knew about blood flow that modern medicine simply stopped talking about. What I'm going to share with you today are 10 foods, roots, and remedies that your great-grandmother probably had in her kitchen, and that modern science has now validated with clinical data. Some of these will surprise you. One of them, an old root that used to grow along every country road in America, has more clinical evidence behind it than some prescription medications for leg swelling, and almost nobody talks about it anymore. Before I get into the list, I need you to do me a favor. If you've been dealing with swelling in your legs, your ankles, your feet, especially in the evening, type in the comments what time of day it gets the worst for you. Is it 5 o'clock? 8 o'clock? Does it start right after lunch? Tell me, because that timing actually reveals a lot about what's going on inside your veins. And while you're down there, if you haven't subscribed yet, tap that button, because I put out new research like this every single week, and the next video I'm working on connects directly to what we're going to cover today. Now let me explain what's actually happening when your legs swell every evening, because once you understand the mechanism, everything I'm about to tell you will make perfect sense. Your body has 2 major systems that move fluid. The first is your arterial system, which pushes blood down to your legs with every heartbeat. That part works fine in most people. The problem is the return trip. Getting blood back up from your feet to your heart is an engineering marvel, and after 70 years of use, the engineering starts to wear down. Your veins have these tiny one-way valves inside them, little flaps that open to let blood flow upward and then snap shut to prevent it from falling back down. Think of them like trap doors on a staircase. When you're young, those trapdoors are tight, springy, responsive. But after decades of gravity, inflammation, sitting, standing, and just living, those valves start to get loose. They don't close all the way anymore. So blood that should be moving upward starts to pool. And when blood pools, fluid leaks out of the capillaries into the surrounding tissue. That's the swelling. That's the puffiness. That's the dent that stays when you press your thumb in. Here's the part your doctor probably didn't have time to explain in your 12-minute appointment. This isn't just a plumbing problem, it's an inflammation problem. When blood pools in your lower legs, it triggers a cascade of inflammatory signals. The walls of your veins get irritated and become more permeable, which means they leak even more fluid. White blood cells stick to the inside of the vein walls, releasing chemicals that make everything worse. It's a cycle. Pooling causes inflammation. Inflammation causes more pooling, and around it goes every single day, until by 8 o'clock at night your shoes don't fit, and your socks leave marks that look like tire tracks on your calves. The medical term is chronic venous insufficiency, and the standard treatment is compression stockings and a diuretic pill. Those things help, and I'm not going to tell you to throw them away, but there is an entire category of foods and natural compounds that work on the actual mechanisms I just described. They strengthen vein walls. They reduce capillary permeability. They calm the inflammatory cascade. They improve the function of those little one-way valves. And most of them were common kitchen staples 100 years ago that we simply stopped eating. The first one is the star of today's video. It's horse chestnut seed extract. And if you've never heard of it, That tells you everything about how disconnected we've become from the medicine that grows right under our feet. Horse chestnut trees used to line the streets of small towns all across America and Europe. They're beautiful trees with big white flower clusters in the spring and spiny green pods in the fall that crack open to reveal a glossy brown seed that looks almost exactly like a buckeye. In fact, if you grew up in Ohio, you already know this tree. Kids used to collect the seeds and put them in their pockets for good luck. But what those kids didn't know, and what their grandmothers absolutely did know, is that inside that shiny brown seed is a compound called acin. And acin is one of the most powerful vein tonics ever studied. A landmark trial published in The Lancet compared horse chestnut seed extract head-to-head with compression stockings for chronic venous insufficiency. The results were essentially identical. The extract reduced leg volume, ankle circumference, and pain just as effectively as medical-grade compression. Acin works by sealing the tiny pores in your capillary walls that are leaking fluid into your tissue. It's like caulking the cracks in a window frame. The dose used in most studies is 300 milligrams of standardized extract twice a day, taken with meals. Look for one standardized to 20% acin. Start with one capsule a day for the first week to make sure your stomach tolerates it, then move to twice daily. And please, do not eat raw horse chestnut seeds. The raw seed contains a toxic compound called esculin. Only use a standardized supplement. The second item is something you might already have in your spice cabinet. It's ginger root. Not the powdered stuff in the little jar, although that has value too. I'm talking about fresh, knobby, ugly ginger root, the kind your grandmother used to grate into hot water on cold mornings. In the old Appalachian communities, ginger tea was the standard remedy for what they called heavy legs. Women who spent all day on their feet would sit down in the evening with a cup of strong ginger tea, and within an hour, the tightness in their calves would ease. We now know why. Ginger contains compounds called gingerols and shogalls that act as natural anti-inflammatory agents, inhibiting the same COX-2 enzyme that ibuprofen targets, but without damaging the stomach lining. More importantly for leg swelling, ginger improves microcirculation by preventing platelets from clumping too aggressively in the tiny capillaries of your lower legs. The best way to use it is simple. Cut a 1-inch piece of fresh ginger root, slice it thin, put it in a mug, pour boiling water over it, let it steep for 10 minutes, and drink it every morning. Add a squeeze of lemon, because the vitamin C supports collagen production in your vein walls. That's not folklore, that's biochemistry. The third one might surprise you. Beets. Deep red beets are one of the most powerful circulatory foods on the planet, and the mechanism is different from everything else on this list. Beets are the richest food source of dietary nitrates. When you eat beets, the bacteria on your tongue convert those nitrates into nitric oxide, the master molecule of circulation. Nitric oxide tells your blood vessels to relax and widen. It's the same molecule that medications like nitroglycerin release. After 70, your body's natural nitric oxide production drops dramatically, and some researchers believe this decline is a primary driver of circulatory problems in aging. A study from Queen Mary University of London found that drinking 1 cup of beet juice improved blood vessel function within 3 hours. For leg swelling, improved nitric oxide means your arteries deliver blood more efficiently and your veins have an easier time moving it back up. 1 cup of raw beetroot juice in the morning with breakfast or roasted beets as a side dish 3 times a week. One warning: your urine may turn pink or red. This is harmless. It's called beeturia. Don't panic thinking you're bleeding. Number 4 is butcher's broom. And pay close attention because number 7 is going to build on the same mechanism in a way that surprised even me. Butcher's broom is a small evergreen shrub that grows wild across southern Europe. It got its name because butchers in medieval marketplaces used the stiff branches to sweep their chopping blocks clean. But the root contains compounds called ruscogenins that activate alpha-adrenergic receptors on the smooth muscle cells in your vein walls. In plain language, they make your veins contract and squeeze tighter. Remember those floppy, loose valves I described? Butcher's broom gives your veins back some of their youthful tone. A German clinical trial found that a combination of butcher's broom, hesperidin, and vitamin C significantly reduced leg heaviness and swelling in patients with chronic venous insufficiency after 12 weeks. The standard dose is 150 milligrams of extract twice daily, standardized to at least 10% ruscogenins, taken with food. The fifth item is turmeric, specifically the curcumin inside it. I know you've heard about turmeric 1,000 times, but the connection to leg swelling is direct and measurable. Curcumin is one of the most potent natural inhibitors of NF-kappa B, which is like the master switch for inflammation. When it's chronically activated, it turns on dozens of inflammatory genes that cause your vein walls to become porous and leaky. Curcumin turns that switch down. If your grandmother came from a South Asian or Caribbean household, she probably cooked with turmeric every single day. It was in the rice, in the stews, in the warm milk before bed. She didn't know about NF-kappa B. She just knew turmeric made people feel better. The challenge is absorption. Your body barely absorbs curcumin on its own. You need fat and you need black pepper. The piperine in black pepper increases curcumin absorption by up to 2,000%. 1 teaspoon of turmeric powder in warm milk or oatmeal, with a generous crack of black pepper and a splash of coconut oil, daily. If you prefer a supplement, look for one containing piperine or phospholipids for enhanced absorption, and take it with your fattiest meal. Now, number 6 is where most people are getting things completely wrong, and the mistake is actually making their swelling worse. I'm talking about salt, but not in the way you think. The conventional advice for swelling is cut your salt. For some people, especially those with heart failure or kidney disease, that's correct. But for many people over 70 with venous insufficiency, the problem isn't too much sodium, it's too much processed sodium with too little potassium. Your body manages fluid balance through the sodium-potassium pump. When those two minerals are balanced, fluid stays where it should. The modern diet has destroyed that balance. The solution isn't eliminating salt, it's flooding your body with potassium-rich foods while reducing processed sodium. The best sources are ones your grandparents ate without thinking about it. Foods that came straight from the garden or the farm stand down the road. Sweet potatoes, white beans, spinach, avocados, and dark meat chicken cooked on the bone. If you grew up in a household where Sunday dinner meant a whole chicken roasted with sweet potatoes and a pot of greens on the side, you were getting a perfect potassium delivery system, and nobody at the table had any idea. One baked sweet potato has over 900 milligrams of potassium. Your target should be 3,500 to 4,700 milligrams per day, and most of you are getting less than half that. Add 1 sweet potato or a large handful of spinach to your daily meals, and watch what happens to your ankles over 2 weeks. But if you're on a potassium-sparing diuretic or an ACE inhibitor, talk to your doctor first. These medications change how your kidneys handle potassium. Number 7 is bone broth. And I don't mean the watery stuff in a carton at the grocery store. I mean real, homemade, long-simmered bone broth, the kind that turns into jelly when you put it in the fridge. That jelly is pure collagen, and collagen is what your veins are made of. The walls of your veins are built from collagen and elastin fibers woven together like a basket, and after 70 years, those fibers fray. Bone broth delivers the raw materials to repair them: glycine, proline, hydroxyproline, and gelatin. In the old farming communities of the Midwest, bone broth wasn't a health trend, it was Tuesday. Every household had a pot on the back of the stove. Chicken feet, beef knuckles, pork neck bones, whatever the butcher had cheap. They'd simmer it for 12, sometimes 24 hours until the bones crumbled. The broth came out dark gold with beautiful circles of fat floating on top, and it had a richness you could feel coat the inside of your mouth. That richness is medicine. To make it properly, get 4 pounds of beef or chicken bones, preferably joints and knuckles because they have the most cartilage. Place them in a large pot, cover with cold water, add 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar to draw the minerals from the bones, toss in an onion cut in half, a few peppercorns, and a bay leaf. Then simmer on the lowest heat your stove can manage for at least 12 hours. Your house will smell like your grandmother's kitchen on a Sunday morning. Strain it, let it cool in the fridge, and skim the fat from the top if you want, though a little fat is fine. Drink 1 to 2 cups per day, warm, with a pinch of sea salt. You can sip it plain or use it as the base for any soup. Number 8 is garlic, and there's a detail here that almost everyone gets wrong. I don't mean garlic supplements or garlic oil capsules. I mean raw, fresh cloves, crushed and left to sit for 10 minutes before eating. That 10-minute wait is not optional. When you crush a garlic clove, it triggers an enzymatic reaction converting alliin into allicin. Allicin stimulates the production of hydrogen sulfide in your blood vessels, a vasodilator that opens up your veins and improves flow. But allicin is fragile. If you throw crushed garlic straight into a hot pan, the heat destroys the enzyme before the conversion completes. Crush it, wait 10 minutes, then cook with it or eat it raw. A study from the University of Alabama at Birmingham found that garlic-derived hydrogen sulfide relaxed blood vessels by up to 72% in lab models. 2 medium cloves a day, crushed, weighted, stirred into your food. Mashed into avocado on toast is my personal favorite. The 9th item is cayenne pepper, and this one has a fascinatingly direct mechanism. Cayenne contains capsaicin, which stimulates the release of neuropeptides that cause rapid vasodilation in peripheral blood vessels. That's why your face turns red when you eat something spicy. That's not a side effect. That's your circulatory system going into overdrive. The old herbalists in the rural South called cayenne the crisis herb and used it for everything from heart palpitations to cold hands. A quarter teaspoon mixed into warm water with a squeeze of lemon, first thing in the morning. Work up to half a teaspoon over a few weeks if you tolerate it. If it bothers your stomach, take it with food instead. And number 10, the last on our list, is hawthorn berry, and it ties everything together beautifully. Hawthorn is a thorny shrub that grows wild across North America and Europe, used as a heart and circulation tonic for thousands of years. In traditional Appalachian medicine, hawthorn berry tea was given to older folks with tired hearts and heavy legs. The women who knew the mountain remedies would collect the berries in autumn, dry them on screens in the barn, and store them in mason jars for winter. The Amish communities still use it to this day. Hawthorn berries contain a dense concentration of oligomeric proanthocyanidins, powerful flavonoids that do 3 things at once. They strengthen the collagen matrix in your blood vessel walls. They act as antioxidants, protecting the endothelial lining of your veins. And they improve the contractile force of the heart muscle itself, so blood is pumped more efficiently on every beat. A meta-analysis in the American Journal of Medicine reviewed 14 clinical trials and found significant improvements in exercise tolerance and fatigue in patients with mild to moderate heart insufficiency. For leg swelling, stronger vein walls plus a more efficient heart pump is exactly what you want. The standard dose is 160 to 900 milligrams of standardized extract per day, divided into 2 or 3 doses. Start low. Dried hawthorn berries can also be brewed as tea, 1 tablespoon of crushed berries in boiling water for 15 minutes. It has a slightly sweet, slightly tart flavor that grows on you. Now, before I wrap up, let me tell you about someone I'll call Dorothy. Dorothy was 74, a retired school librarian from a small town in Tennessee. Her legs had been swelling so badly that by 6 o'clock every evening, she couldn't walk from the living room to the kitchen without pain. Her doctor prescribed a water pill and told her to elevate her legs. The pill helped some but made her run to the bathroom every hour, and the swelling kept returning every afternoon like clockwork. Dorothy was frustrated, scared, and I could see it in her eyes when she told me she'd started canceling plans with friends because she was embarrassed by how swollen her legs looked in the evening. She'd started to believe this was just what getting old felt like, that there was nothing left to try. After talking to her doctor, she started with ginger tea every morning, 2 cups of bone broth from bones she got at her local butcher for practically nothing, a baked sweet potato with dinner, and a horse chestnut supplement her doctor confirmed was safe with her medications. She also added 2 crushed garlic cloves to her daily lunch. 6 weeks later, the swelling had decreased so noticeably she could see the tendons on the top of her feet again for the first time in 3 years. She started walking her dog in the evenings again, something she'd given up months before. Dorothy didn't cure anything. She still takes her blood pressure medication. She still wears compression stockings on long days. But by giving her body the raw materials it needed, she took back a significant piece of her daily life. That's what food can do. Not miracles. Momentum. Now I need to have a serious moment with you. If you are currently taking blood thinners like warfarin or Eliquis, heart medication, diuretics, ACE inhibitors, or any medication for blood pressure or heart function, you must talk to your doctor before adding these foods and supplements. Several items on this list, garlic, ginger, horse chestnut, hawthorn, have blood-thinning or cardiovascular effects that can interact with medications. This isn't a reason to avoid them. It's a reason to work with your doctor so everything is balanced properly. Bring this list to your next appointment. Any good physician will be happy to work with you on integrating these safely. And if your leg swelling came on suddenly, if only one leg is swollen, if the swelling is accompanied by redness, warmth, or pain in the calf, go to the emergency room. That could be a blood clot, and it requires immediate medical attention. So let's step back and look at the big picture. Every item on this list is doing the same work through different pathways. Strengthening the walls of your veins so fluid stays inside. Calming the chronic inflammation that makes those walls leaky. Improving blood flow through vessels that have become sluggish with time. Giving your body the raw materials, the collagen, the minerals, the antioxidants, to repair circulatory infrastructure that has been slowly breaking down for decades. This isn't about one magic pill. It's about rebuilding the environment inside your body so your veins can do the job they were designed to do. Here's what I want you to do this week. Start every morning with ginger tea. 1 inch of fresh ginger, sliced in hot water, 10 minutes. Add 1 potassium-rich food to your daily meals, whether that's a sweet potato, a cup of spinach, or a handful of white beans. Talk to your doctor about horse chestnut seed extract, because the evidence is too strong to ignore. And crush 2 garlic cloves, wait 10 minutes, and add them to your lunch or dinner. 4 things. Nothing expensive, nothing complicated, nothing that requires a special trip to a specialty store. Do them consistently for 3 weeks, and then look at your ankles at 8 o'clock at night. Compare what you see to what you're seeing right now. I think you'll be surprised. And I think that surprise will give you the confidence to keep going. In my next video, I'm going to tackle something that connects directly to what we discussed today. I'm going to explain why the blood vessels in your legs age faster than the blood vessels in your arms, and what that specific asymmetry tells us about how to reverse circulatory decline from the feet up. There's a mechanism involving hydrostatic pressure and gravity that changes everything about how we should approach leg health after 70, and I can't wait to share it with you. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. And if this video helped you, share it with someone you love whose legs swell up every evening. They deserve this information too. I'll see you in the next one.